the one and only DNVR. Two goes out to Zac, RK, and the bar. Three for Mr. B in that old trophy case. Number four, we're still waiting for, well, bring on the chase. Out on the field at Mile High, Broncos win is our desire. Coupled with a break, brew and a friend, bleed orange and blue to the bitter end. Come and join us, DNVR. We are DNVR.
We are DNVR, and we are live from Studio A. Lots of Studio A action recently, and the A stands for again.
Are you kidding?
That's an R. Or
Hey.
yes. Still no decision on the Denver Broncos starting quarterback, and we have takes about that we'll get to in just a second. But first, I want to let you know that we are presented by MSU Denver Online. Check them out, msudenver.edu/online to see what they have to offer. And what I can tell you is that if you are looking to maintain a full-time job and further your education, there's no better place to go than MSU Denver, because MSU Denver students work twice as many hours as students attending any other institution in Colorado. So check out msudenver.edu/online today.
My boy, Ryan, what is up? I thought we were going to be talking about a starting quarterback name today, and we're not. And what comes to my mind is, what are we doing?
Yeah.
What the heck is going on, Ryan, especially after we talked yesterday? I think on Saturday night, both you and I were feeling, okay, maybe this does go one more week, get some more time, see who separates himself in this third week, since Drew won the first week, Teddy won the second week, let's see what happens. Then yesterday, our conversation shifted to, well, how much evaluation are you truly going to get? You're going to be playing the Rams' third, fourth, fifth stringers. You're not going to be able to get an evaluation this week. Might as well make a decision with everything you have, because neither of these guys are really going to be able to separate from here on out. So make the decision. Go with Teddy. Go with Drew. Whatever it is. And today, nope. We're right where we were.
And you had to know when Drew Lock was getting first-team reps and Teddy Bridgewater was getting first-team reps today that there was going to be no decision.
Yep. When I saw, so Teddy and I know a couple people were tweeting live during practice. We're not allowed to do that anymore. I'm sure they got a little slap on the wrist for that. So that's why you didn't see me tweet anything out. But the first period,
habitual rule follower.
The first period, Teddy, all with the ones. And I thought to myself,
here we go.
It's over. It's over. And then Drew went in there, got some 1 reps with 7-on-7. I thought, holy cow. And then, of course, Vic made it official after saying not yet on a quarterback decision. But then he went on and said some very interesting things just about when this thing will be done, Ryan. It left me scratching my head. I think this thing could still be over tomorrow morning.
Zach, they've had 2 days to sit there and meet as a staff. There used to be this like reality show. I forget exactly how it worked, but
I guarantee you I haven't seen it.
As I remember, they put like 10 people in a room, and they said, one of you gets $1 million if all of you can decide who it is.
Oh.
And you can't leave until you make the decision of who it is, and you can't split it. And like, that's the way I think of it, is like, you guys need to get into a room and you cannot leave until you have a starting quarterback. Like, that's what they should have been doing yesterday.
Is there food and drink in the room?
Yeah, John always going to bring cheesesteaks or whatever it was that he brought to the draft.
Well, then I don't think they'll ever leave.
I don't understand. And this is funny because we are, I'm about to dunk on them for not making a decision when I myself have changed my feelings about this in like the last 48 hours. After the game, I was thinking like, this thing has to go on. Yeah. And like you said, you guys made such great points yesterday saying like, what could you possibly evaluate right now? And you completely changed my mind on it because I'm in lockstep with you. No pun intended. I'm thinking like, Well, I guess let me ask you this without giving anything away. Were they working on scout team today, or did it look like a training camp practice?
So it was a little more intense than I thought. And what Vic said after practice was it was 40% going up against, live real action, 60% scout team. And I was a little surprised because Vic also admitted that they're starting to move into a regular season practice. And typically it's more than 60% scout team.
Yeah.
It's a lot more. But there was 40% of real live football going on.
Okay, so that gives me a little bit to work with, but it doesn't really change the point, which is like, these guys are who they are.
Yep.
Nothing is changing between today and Friday, today and Sunday morning that you didn't already know. And so what, you're waiting for, like, are you telling him next one to throw an interception loses?
Right. And at this point, I don't think it should be decided by who has a bad 14 plays of practice, because Teddy's had 2 really bad days in training camp. Drew has had a couple really bad days in camp. I don't think you should be deciding this on who has the next bad day or bad interception. It shouldn't be decided like that.
Yeah, it's almost like I don't know where this ends. I really don't. Because, again, anything that could happen between now and the end of the game on Saturday, deciding the competition just seems so silly.
It does.
But I will say, I don't think the tinfoil hat's here. I don't need the tinfoil hat. Don't worry about it, Kale. I don't need it. It's okay. I don't want it. We're going back to the theory about Vic wanting Teddy in the front office, meaning John Elway, who knows how involved he is, and George Payton wanting the younger guy with the higher upside.
Yep.
Lose your mind all you want about the upside. He has a higher upside. And to me, I'm thinking, like, all of the things that Vic said today sound like things that he's just regurgitating from someone who was defending Drew.
Yep.
You know what I mean?
Yep.
Like, it sounded like he listened to our show after the game, or he was reading Twitter, or George Payton came into his office and defended Drew, or John Elway. And it was like all of the, for lack of a better, I don't mean this in a negative way, excuses, though, because it was, well, Drew didn't have great protection. That's true, for sure. But the point is, it sounds like it came from someone else as their perspective as to why Drew didn't play great on Saturday night. And in the same way that you guys convinced me and changed my mind yesterday, maybe someone got in his ear and changed his mind. But if you're viewing everything through a scope of wanting Teddy to be the starter, you're just eventually going to find a way to get there.
And Ryan, that's where I think we are right now. I don't think Vic's mind is being changed by these other people. What I feel like is happening is he's being told, whoa, you sure you want to make that decision on Teddy yet? Why don't we have a conversation? And these are the conversations that are being had. And Vic said Drew was a victim of protection breakdowns on his 2 sacks, and praised Drew, said he had a good game, but it still wasn't the glowing endorsement that he gave about Teddy Bridgewater right after the game. And now Vic wasn't asked about Teddy because he had already given a very detailed explanation. So that's nothing against Vic not talking about him today. But
well, that is something.
Oh,
because if you're talking about, well, I guess you can lead me a different way based on the way that it was presented to him. But he says there's no decision, and then he kind of gives like excuses as to why maybe it didn't look as great to him about Drew. He was as bad.
So on Saturday after the game, he was asked about Teddy 3 different times. Gave 3 answers specifically about the game and what he likes about Teddy.
Compared to the other TB.
Yes, exactly. When asked about Drew, he said, I have to go watch the tape. So the question today was, after watching the tape, what did you see like from Drew? He wasn't asked after watching the tape, what did you see from Teddy?
What the hell else was he watching with the second team offense?
He was watching Teddy on the sideline. No, I don't know.
Watching the Seahawks defense, seeing if he can get anything from him.
Get a player or 2 from him, maybe.
Exactly. I just think it's wild that they haven't made a decision. Like I said, they had 2 whole days, no practices the last 2 days. Get in there, watch all the film you need, all the practice film, all that, have all the conversations, all the debates. Come out of there with a decision. It's like a jury. You got to make a decision. You got to do something.
I think Vic's mind is made up, and there's 3 things about the timeline and why one of them points to me saying I think Vic's decision is made already. First, he was asked, are these guys, who's going to be the starter this Saturday? He said, haven't decided yet. Do these guys need to play on Saturday for you to decide? He said, not necessarily, but maybe. So throwing it up in the air that maybe it could happen, maybe they could play, maybe the decision's made before then, after. And then he was asked about the time frame of a decision, and he did not hit that head on. Instead, what he said was he did the math in his head. How many days until we play our first game? 19? We've got 19 days. We've got plenty of time. So he kind of threw out there, we may make the decision before. We may make the decision on game day of the first game. We're talking September 12th against the Giants. But then, Ryan, he also dropped something very interesting. He was asked, oh, what are you waiting for, sort of thing. And he said, we want to make sure it's the right time for the quarterbacks involved, for the team involved, to let them know, to tell them. And that, to me, was what was the most interesting, weirdest comment, because to me, he didn't say in that comment, I need to see them both play one more game. I don't need to see them play one more practice. It was more so of a courtesy of sitting
what?
both of them down and telling them he could have done it Sunday night.
Yes.
He could have done it Monday night. He could have done it today before practice, which is what I thought was going to happen. But that just leads me to think, Ryan, I wouldn't be surprised if we know a starting quarterback tomorrow morning.
Why?
Courtesy. I don't know
Courtesy
what the
of
courtesy
what?
is. I don't know. But I mean, just how weird is that? Because some of the time he's saying, I just want to see a little more. However, I don't know if I need to see them on the game this week. And then also, I just want to be courteous to them and make it the right decision for the team and the players in terms of timing. It's weird.
It's really weird, dude.
And the honest truth about what's happening, the longer this is pushed off, the more it hurts the Broncos.
Yes,
and the more it
so
hurts
that's the right
the
time was
starting
last
offense.
week.
Right.
The right time before that was the day before last week. The right time right now is right now.
And also an interesting thing, Vic didn't say this is even or that it's the same anymore. He said it's really close. And now he credited both guys and said this is really damn close. Between the two of them, they both played really well, praised both quarterbacks, said they can both win games and be the starter for them. But he said it's close, which is a little bit different than what he's saying. It's no longer even. There's a front runner. And Vic, I'm pleading with you, if there's a front runner, go with the front runner.
Yes.
End this thing so that you can let that front runner catch up to every other starting quarterback that has had, 90% of the snaps in training camp.
To me, it just feels like someone keeps moving the finish line. And so
I don't think it's Vic.
Teddy was right there, right? He's about to cross the finish line, and whoever it may be grabbed that finish line and moved it another 100 yards. And it was like, hold on.
Yeah.
It's not over yet.
Yeah.
And it's just interesting, man. It's really interesting. And I got to be honest, if George Payton is the one who's pushing this thing on, dude, you're the boss.
Yep.
So don't keep waiting for Drew to convince Vic.
Nope.
Just tell him.
Yes. Make the decision.
Yes. And I think it's almost like this cat and mouse thing where he's like, well, I don't want to be a meddling GM who, puts. So he's like trying to send him signals like, no, I don't think today's the right day. Why don't you watch another practice? Let's go 60-40. Right. And then they go back and meet, and he's like, what do you think now? And he's like, yeah, I'm still going. He's like, all right, why don't we see what happens with tomorrow's practice? It's weird.
Yeah.
Like I said, you were right when you said after the game, like if you were going to name Drew the starter, you should have done it after he balled out against Minnesota.
Right.
I think Vic maybe made a miscalculation by telling each guy they were going to start a preseason game. But again, if he wanted Teddy, then he obviously wanted to see Teddy start a game. So it's just it's bad for the Broncos. That's really the only thing, and it goes into something we've talked about in all of these conversations we've already had. But it goes into this disconnect between front office and coach. That can't work. There's no owner to step in and say, George, just tell him what you want. It's just it's a bummer that we're in this situation at all. But it really is Vic Fangio's responsibility to make a decision.
Yeah.
And he is doing a disservice to his team by not doing that.
And Ryan, if he makes a decision tomorrow, it'll just be silly that it wasn't today and that Teddy didn't get all the reps because Vic said they did split the first team reps today, and it seemed like that throughout practice. But let's say they do make the decision the next day or two. It's not going to hurt the team that much, but what I'm afraid of is taking it after the game, and then they probably won't make a decision on Sunday. And then from what Mace said yesterday is that next week's practices are the NFL's telling the teams to kind of treat it as a bye week. So then there's no practices. So then you just have 1 week of practice leading up to your first game with your starting quarterback.
You have to give that guy all the reps.
Yes. Yes, you do. And especially if you're not going to have your starter play on Saturday, don't you want to have him get so many reps right now? So, yes, I want them to make the decision now, but if they don't, boy, it's going to hurt them. It's going to hurt them because then you're talking about just 1 week of practice.
Unless they're just saying internally, like, both of these guys have plenty of reps with the ones. But if I know anything about coaches, especially like the offensive coordinator is saying like, no way, dude. We need all the reps we can get. Mm-hmm. Every lost rep is a way that we're falling behind the Giants. The Giants have their starter. Every single starter rep has been with Daniel Jones.
Lucky them.
Yeah, lucky them. But as a coach, you're saying, like, we're losing ground in that area.
You've got to be.
Yes.
You've got to be feeling that way.
I guess the way you could say you're gaining ground is though your starting quarterback, whoever it is playing way more than anyone else's in these preseason games.
Yeah, it's very true. And Vic said competition brings out the best in them. Is convinced in that, and it does seem like that. But what if that's Vic's argument to say let's keep it going? Okay. These guys just keep getting better.
New conspiracy. You know how in college now the transfer portal, I believe you can't play 4 games of the season?
Right.
And so what coaches will do now is they'll drag their starting quarterback competition all the way into the 4th game so that the guy who loses it can't transfer.
Right.
Now,
that is terrible.
It's pretty snaky. And to his credit, Dabo Sweeney, he, remember it was Kelly Bryant, I believe was the guy's name, and Trevor Lawrence.
Yep.
And after the 2nd game or the 3rd game, he said it's going to be Trevor. He gave him the opportunity to transfer and save that year of eligibility. What if they're saying, like, if you have 3 weeks before the start of the season, Drew could, demand a trade and still feel like he could go be the starter somewhere else?
No, then you cut him if you think that's the case.
What do you mean?
You don't. If you think a quarterback is going to do that, you don't want him on your team.
I'm just trying to come up with anything here. I think you're right, but I'm just saying, like, what could you what information can you gather this week that you don't already have?
You can't. And Ryan, we're at the point where it's just like entering the draft, is where you just have so much information, you just overthink things. And you end up taking a player who's good at this one specific thing, but it's kind of not football related, and then you take him, and then it turns out he's not the best football player, and it's just because you overthought it.
Yes.
Just stick to who you think is the best. Vic, if you truly are making the call, and you truly think it's Teddy, just make the call. End it, because Teddy could come out and throw 3 interceptions tomorrow and Drew 3 touchdowns. How much does that truly change who they are as a player? Or it could be vice versa. How much does that truly change who they are?
It doesn't change anything. Nothing's changing.
Especially when we're talking about only 40% of the reps. I like that 40% of the reps are good reps, but it's still 40% of one practice.
Yes.
And if this week is anything like last week, they're only going to have 2 real practices, today and tomorrow. So we're talking about 80% of snaps in one practice is essentially what we're getting.
The sample size is getting bigger, but that means that individual things that happen can't change the sample as much. It's like if you have a poll, once there's 10,000 votes on the poll, 1 vote doesn't change anything.
I didn't know you were a math guy.
Huge math guy.
Wow, math and science in the past couple days.
And this is kind of science too. I'm talking about sample sizes and all that stuff.
Yeah, exactly.
So the larger that the pool of information you have gets, the less anything changing can change the pool. And that's exactly the point here. You're waiting for one guy to just change exactly like everything about all of a sudden Teddy's throwing 5 picks. No, it's never happening.
Right.
So this is just it's just weird. I guess the last internal topic on this I want to ask you is, this has to be good news for Drew Lock, right? We pretty much had this thing in the bag, and if they're not, we were convinced. If they're not convinced, that means Drew still has life.
Yes, it is good news for Drew because he's still floating, as you said. I'm not changing my stance very much, though. I still think it's going to be Teddy's job because I still don't think that, especially if they're going to name a guy this week, that you can do it after that game in which Teddy balled out and Drew was just okay. So if it's this week, I still think it's Teddy, and I still think that Vic wants Teddy, and it's going to be Teddy. Who do you think it's going to be and when?
I thought it was Teddy today. So now I'm starting to think we might not get a decision until week 1. That's the only way that it makes sense to me, is to try to give them less time to prepare. But even then, like, the offense is going to look pretty similar.
Isn't everyone, whether you're Team Drew, Team Teddy, isn't everyone just ready for this to be over? You know, the quarterback competition was so much fun to start camp. But, Ryan, now it feels like I finished the marathon 2 days ago, and that finish line just went an extra 5 miles to get to today. And now I don't know how many more miles it is, and I'm exhausted.
Just keep running. Just keep running. At least you're cut out for it. Imagine how I feel. All right. Kale, how's the chat looking? How are we doing in there?
I don't want to give an honest answer.
Okay.
Oh boy. Well, I think we want to know, but first, got to tell you guys about our friends over at DraftKings Sportsbook, America's top-rated sportsbook app. And I know I gave you a good pick of the week yesterday, getting in on Teddy. Maybe those odds were right at Drew being minus 190, because this thing is still going on, and you can get in on all of the quarterback bets going on. Man, I really like Justin Fields taking over Andy Dalton, but it doesn't look like that's going to happen. I don't know, just because Matt Nagy, they're doing weird things out there. But get in on all of the quarterback debates. Maybe you can still get in on Jameis Winston to win that. And, of course, all the Week 1 games. And if you bet on any Week 1 game over at DraftKings Sportsbook, you'll get $200 in free bets instantly. That's all you have to do. You're going to be betting on games anyways. Might as well do it through DraftKings and get $200 in free bets. All you have to do is download the top-rated DraftKings Sportsbook app now and use promo code DNVR when you sign up to get that promo code offer. Place one bet on a Week 1 game, get $200 in free bets over there, and use the code DNVR when you sign up. For a limited time only at DraftKings Sportsbook. Must be 21 or older, Colorado only. New customers only. Restrictions apply. See DraftKings.com/sportsbook for details. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-522-4700.
Also want to let you know about being a DNVR member, and I was going to say a Denver. It's a DNVR member.
That sounds like
a Denver member.
People are now.
Yeah.
They're kind of down.
Come on down to the DNVR bar. That's one thing you can do. You'll get a 22-ounce beer for the price of 16 just for being a DNVR member. You're going to get a free shirt when you sign up. We've got new Broncos shirts coming. Just got some really exciting news on that front, which I'll tell you about after the show, Zach. So that's exciting. We also give you deals every week to get more gear if that's what you want. We've got a DNVR golf tournament coming up, which you can be a part of. Yep. Sign up for that. It's going to be an absolute blast. There's always amazing things going at DNVR, and I haven't even mentioned yet that you get access to all the written content on all the teams. We did the quarterback scoreboard. Zach, let me ask you today. You don't have to even give me a score. You don't have to get into specifics. If there was a quarterback scoreboard today, who would have won?
It would have been even or slight. It would have been a slight win for Teddy. Slight.
Okay. All right. Well,
both looked good.
That basically is a microcosm of what everything has been so far. It's a slight edge for Teddy based on our score. Anyways.
More deep passes.
Oh, all those things available for you if you become a DNVR member. We appreciate that. Also, right now is a perfect time for me to remind you to hit us with a thumbs up if you're enjoying the content or if you enjoy fighting with other people in the live chat. All of that is much appreciated. So hit us with a thumbs up and become a member at thednvr.com.
Ryan, I was out there watching the Broncos throw a football around, and it reminded me, I'm just watching these guys play ball, and it reminded me of Ball, our new partner. And of course, they're an aerospace engineering company. They make over 100 billion cans every single year. And because they make so many cans, they are hiring to their 400-person plant here in Golden. And the demand for sustainable aluminum beverage cans has never been greater than it is now. And chances are, if you consumed a beverage in a can, it's from a Ball can. So why not get paid to help them with that? So make sure to get a job at Ball if you're looking for that. And here's how you do it. Go to jobs.ball.com and search for Golden. That's jobs.ball.com. Search for Golden, or you can text Golden, Golden, to 77222 in order to find out more about getting a job at Ball. They also are a fantastic company to work at, so make sure to check them out at jobs.ball.com.
All right.
You almost lost it over there.
No, so I don't know if Kale wants to bring this up. I tweeted out a meme of the Groundhog Day guy.
Oh, yes.
And I said, one more week of the quarterback competition, the
Yep.
groundhog saw his shadow. And all of the responses on the tweet are that at first glance they thought the guy holding the groundhog was Mace.
Oh, my gosh. Wow. Oh, man. Wow.
Lots of people saying that, which is actually hilarious.
That would've been
Mace
good.
also, he rocks the I feel like he can rock the trench coat in the winter.
Yeah, and the hat.
Yep.
Yeah, I could see it.
I don't know if he would wear that hat.
What's he holding, though?
Okay, it kind of looks like if you mixed Mace and Tyler Columbus together.
I see it.
Interesting.
I see it. Actually, that's why Mace isn't with us today. He was posing for a photo shoot.
Anyways, that's what had me laughing. Kale, you said we have a super chat?
Yes, sir.
Oh, let's go.
From our guy Zachary Castro. Did my man RK get a fresh cut in between pods? Looking fresh, my guy.
I did not, but I really appreciate it. I think it's just this bomb lighting from Kale.
Hey, it does look it looks padded down. You been wearing a hat?
Nope.
Oh, wow.
Nothing like that.
Wow, okay, must be the lighting.
Yeah, maybe I've just been getting patted down today. That's just been my day. I love that's the best compliment anyone can pay my barber. I was in the Starbucks line the other day, a full week after I had gotten my haircut, and the girl was like, "Oh, fresh haircut today, huh?" I was like, "Nope, but thank you."
Wow, 1 week in, they're still saying fresh.
Yes. Also, I'm having lots of little things like this happen to me recently. I was traveling for business last week and just met some new people and was talking about how we started this company in 2015. They're like, "You started a company in 2015? What are you, 24?" I was like, "Hey, thank you."
That does work out.
It's yeah, no, I'm definitely not 24, but I appreciate the sentiment.
You're a young-looking chap.
Yeah, I appreciate that. Okay, anything else we need to get to?
We have some questions if you want to hit them, but we don't have to.
We will get to questions in the third segment on the podcast side of things. But right now, Zach, and maybe we'll get to some in a little bit here. But right now, Zach, why don't you give us any other updates, any non-quarterback news out there today?
KJ Hamler not practicing. He's sick, not COVID. So the best it could be in terms of KJ Hamler not practicing.
I feel like I was just the kombucha girl that was like, KJ's not practicing. He's sick. Oh,
That's
not
from-
COVID? Okay.
That's from kombucha?
I know. Haven't you? Yeah, that girl.
I know what you're talking
yeah,
about.
That's her
It's
first time trying kombucha.
Oh, wow.
And she's like,
That's tremendous.
yeah.
I also need you to key me in on another thing to keep me hip. What's this box thing?
the milk crate challenge?
Yes.
Have you seen the videos?
No.
Oh, okay. So you take the milk crates.
Okay.
You start. So you make a pyramid.
Okay.
1, 1, 1, 2, 2, 3, 3, 4,
Yep.
4, 5 is the middle.
Yep.
And then someone has to walk up them to the top and then down the other side.
Why is that hard? Or what's...
Wait.
Clearly it's not.
Yeah, once you see the videos. I mean, for someone who's light as a feather like you might be able to just dance your way right up to the top.
Let me see if I can.
Is there anything underneath them?
No, they're just on the ground. Also, a lot of the videos are people just absolutely
Like-
just wrecking themselves on these things.
Oh gosh. Yeah, I saw some mascots are doing it.
Mascots are doing the milk crate challenge?
Yes, I think the
Yeah,
Colts...
there's one-
Yeah,
the
here we go.
Colts- The Colts mascot Blue succeeded. Do you guys want to see?
Yeah, let's see this right now.
I don't under...
You're saying you don't understand why this is difficult?
No. Because, see, it's supported. There's things underneath. Is it because they're so, fragile?
They're fragile, they're wobbly, they're not
Wobbly.
all perfectly stacked.
Where do you get this many milk?
This is actually really
Cartons.
impressive in that suit, but you also had protection.
Oh, that's true.
All right, let me find one that's not successful so that I can see what this is actually like.
Oh, boy.
What?
he's
This
going
is
too
what Zach
fast.
would do.
He's going
Oh, Jesus. Oh, they couldn't see that
I
one?
couldn't see it. I was scrolling.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, let's watch that one more time.
That is terrible. He's going too fast.
Well, he was chilling, but then that top. Why did he jump like that?
He did it to himself.
I think
Wow.
No, but
he was.
going slow isn't a great strategy either, from what I've seen. So.
Yeah, it's like you gotta go. It's like American Ninja Warrior. Is that what that's called?
Oh, yeah.
Like you gotta just go. Like the one where you have to jump. You just have to keep your
Right.
momentum going.
Oh, that guy's going way too slow.
Okay,
Wow, that is
so
something
that's
else.
the milk crate
Okay.
challenge for you.
Well, thanks for keeping me hip.
Yes, of course. So that's what I was.
KJ Hamler.
Yes, KJ
Is
Hamler.
that
Sick, not COVID, not hamstring. I'm good.
kombucha?
Got it.
This. Boom. Got it. Broncos, as we know, waived Josh Watson and Brandon Mack today. They're down to 80. Next week, 1 week from today, down to 53. We'll be done with preseason. We'll have the final roster, and it'll really feel like regular season. Maybe we'll have a quarterback. Maybe not.
Maybe we'll do a roster prediction show.
Yeah, we're gonna
we get
have
some
to.
graphics involved and stuff.
Yep.
And put down our all three of ours 53-man prediction.
Yeah, I like that. Two more injury things, maybe bigger deals. Mike Purcell tweaked his ankle in warm-ups. Still sore. We'll see how big of a deal
Tweak
that
an
is.
ankle in warm-ups.
Yeah, very weird. And then the one that Vic downplayed, he said he doesn't believe it's serious, but Noah Fant has a leg injury. And two starters there. I want to see him out there. Don't know what it is.
Vic always says he doesn't believe.
Right.
If he says it's not serious, I trust him.
Right.
I
Yeah.
don't think it's serious.
Yeah.
That makes me uneasy.
Yes, and something that made Vic uneasy was the special teams play. During the game, he said it simply wasn't good enough, and he's made it clear to everyone, including players, George Payton, Tom McMahon, that he is going to build a 53-man roster with special teams very much in mind.
Yeah, it's a bummer that the special teams unit isn't good. And it's just a real shame that Vic Fangio, there's nothing he could have done about that in the offseason. I mean, his hands were just completely tied. Nowhere to turn.
Tom McMahon, the longest tenured coordinator on the staff.
I'm sorry, Vic, you made your bed. Like, now you get to lay in it. I don't know what else to say to you.
So we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, we will see.
And how about this? Kareem Jackson, after practice, said Patrick Surtain is light years ahead of where he was as a rookie.
And he came from Alabama as well.
He came from Alabama, first-round pick, started at corner.
Huh.
Yep,
Pat Surtain, everything looks so easy for him.
does.
Like, there's certain athletes like that. It's not the exact same. This would be putting really high expectations on him, but like Cale Makar, when I saw him step onto the ice when he came into that playoff series, he looked like he belonged. Everything looked easy for him. He never looked like he was thinking. And that's exactly what I'm seeing from Pat Surtain. It's just like, you never see him like looking over to the sidelines like, what did I do? You know, like he just knows.
Nope, he knows, and he is so big.
Huge.
It's so hard to just quantify how big he is, but he looks like Cortland Sutton out there going up against defensive backs, and he's not too far off. Cortland Sutton, what, 215, 6'4"? Patrick Surtain, 6'2", 205. That's Justin Simmons' size.
Jeez.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny, we talk so much about the quarterbacks. We talk so much about the offense. And it's a lot of it is because just the way that the Broncos have trended over the past few years. I don't think we're talking enough about this defense.
We're not. We're not. And I really think that this defense, in every single way, can be the best we've seen since the 2015 defense.
Oh, I expect it. I fully expect it.
And that's why I get so upset when people say I'd be happy if Bradley Chubb and Von Miller each got 10 sacks. I hate that that's the bar for them. It should be higher than that. Just like I hate when people say, "Oh, this should be a top 10 defense." Of course, it should be a top 10. This should be a top 3 defense, Ryan.
Yeah, they should be a top 10 defense like without even practicing or having a scheme. Just
Exactly.
Just tell them to go out there and cover guys and just pure man,
Yep.
and they should be a top 10 defense.
Yep, exactly.
Yeah, I mean, this is maybe the biggest thing for Vic that we aren't talking about. It's not optional this year.
No.
People say top 5. I really won't accept anything less than top 3.
Yep, I totally agree.
Now, the one excuse that is there for him is the offense. If the offense is terrible, which I don't think they will be, I'll touch wood on that, then it's just really hard for the defense to be good. It's like one thing that Peyton Manning didn't get a lot of credit for when he had his falling off season is he was still keeping the offense on the field. He's getting them in the right play so they could take off a 7-yard run and then move the chains and keep the ball in their possession. They weren't making a lot of explosive plays. He obviously turned the ball over too much, but he was still orchestrating a competent offense.
Right.
It's really hard to do well without that.
And that's what the Broncos want to do. Run the ball to keep them on the field so that you're not having 45-second 3-and-outs.
Yeah, and you interestingly saw them not have nearly as much success on the ground against the Seahawks. Why? The Seahawks are heavy in the box. And I just think any team, especially if it's Teddy, unfortunately, is going to say, hey, let's put 8 in the box. We'll play cover 3 over the top and, come down real hard and take their chances that you can't, hit one of those windows deep.
And Teddy did it, to his credit. When it needed to be done in this past Saturday game, he did it. And now I'm curious to see what teams do with Drew, because obviously they know he has the cannon to throw deep, but do they instead say, we want to put pressure on him and get to him right away, and then we're not worried about him taking us over the top?
I mean, I think these are all these things going into these conversations, and I'm glad. Maybe I'm not. I'm glad it's not me that has to make the decision, because I would have made the decision already. But I totally understand why this is such a difficult decision, and I even tweeted out, I agree it's too close to call at this point. Unfortunately, time's up.
Right.
So it doesn't.
Yeah.
It's not they don't say at the end of a horse race it was just too close to call. It's no, they go to the photo finish, they see who was 1 centimeter ahead of the other horse. That's what you have to do now. The finish line is here. The photo has been taken. All that's left to do is look at who it is.
Vic's saying there's 19 days left to the finish line, bud.
And I'm telling him he's wrong. Because I can do that, because he's not sitting here.
That is the comment that scares me, Ryan. What if he wasn't? I think he was playing. I think he was teasing. But what if he wasn't? What if they do take this 19 days up and wait until opening day? Oh, my goodness.
I'm sort of the belief that, after not doing it today, that's what makes the second most sense.
Wow. Wow. I'm still going with they're going to do it tomorrow.
Why? They're having one more.
It's the best time for the players,
They're waiting to see, they wanted to hear you say that it was a slight edge for Teddy today, and they're all right, it's fine. He's up 7 points on quarterback scoreboard now.
Yeah, exactly.
Call it.
Yep. I hope. I hope this thing is called.
So here's my thought process that I was just saying is, you had this whole week, right? Mm-hmm. And you could have given the whole week to your starter.
Yep.
Now, of course, you can just give the whole week starting next tomorrow, and then one more week after that, right? No, sorry. Next week is the bye week.
Yep.
So you have 3 practices left this week?
Yeah. Really 2.
Okay. So now you're down to 2 practices.
Really 1. Because Thursday's a walkthrough.
Okay, so you're down to 1 practice left this week, right?
Yep.
Bye week next week.
Yep.
And then you have the 4 practices or 3 practices maybe even leading up to that. So today at least you could have said 3 practices this week, 3 practices before the season. That's 6 practices with our 1. Now you're down to 5.
Yep.
You're down to 4. You're down to 3. You're down to 2. Just wait until break it on 8:50 KOA on the broadcast right before the kickoff of the first game.
You can't do that to me, Ryan. My anxiety of leaving my cell phone is too high right now.
Yes, classic.
You know the shower scaries.
Oh my God. Yeah. Does that happen in other jobs? Maybe nurses who are on call, or doctors who are on call.
Yeah,
afraid to get in the shower because they know all of a sudden the beeper goes off and you're running out. Yeah.
Yeah.
When things get really intense, I'll put my phone on something near the shower and put it on loud.
Yeah.
So if it goes, I'll have all the notifications on. If it goes off, I can just unlock it with my eyes and see what it is.
I think we're there.
Yeah, I mean,
and I don't want to be there for the next 19 days, Vic.
19 days of shower scaries is a lot. The sleeping scaries exist too.
Yes, they do. They do.
They broke that Gary Kubiak was retiring at 6 a.m. on New Year's morning.
Yep, that was rude, I would say.
It was so rude.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, I was So hungover.
They broke the Case Keenum news at like midnight.
Here we go. Buckle up.
Oh boy. And maybe Vic thinks it's the most convenient to tell everyone at 2 a.m. Maybe that's a courtesy he's doing.
Maybe like someone had like a family dinner last night.
Oh yeah.
He's like, I don't want to make them
it. Right.
No, he was just like, I don't want to make them in a bad mood right before they go to a family dinner.
So who had the family dinner? Was it Teddy or was it Drew? Because that would tip us off.
It would. I in my mind when I was painting that picture, it was Drew.
Yeah, me too.
This is what a dynamic. I want to like. Will we ever find out the real story?
That's what I went during practice when I saw Drew start getting first team reps. I thought, what if there's a backstory? What is it? Mm-hmm. Is it the head coach and GM just can't get on the same page and this thing's just gonna go until one of them breaks?
Those sort of things should only happen when there's not a power dynamic there.
Right.
Someone has the deciding, like, someone has the deciding power.
And according to George, it's Vic.
But he knows he's his boss.
Right.
So he can pull that card if he has to get what he wants.
Yes, he can.
Also, if they can't get on the same page about this, what does that say about Vic Fangio's job security in the first place?
Right.
Like, they're already off on the wrong foot. They're arguing about this all the time.
And also, it's okay if George makes this decision, but he has told Vic, you're going to make the decision. He's made it very public that Vic's going to make the decision. So...
well, you have to at least paint that picture.
I think George could have said this is going to be a collaborative decision at the beginning. That's what I expected him to say.
You thought he was going to say, we're going to get John involved and me and Vic and Pat.
Yep. And we're going to talk every couple days or be on the same page, everything.
It's just that's what, like, maybe it was a PR thing where they were saying, like, hey, everyone thought John Elway made all the decisions around here. We should paint the picture that you are going to delegate.
And now it's coming back to bite him if that's the case.
Yeah, it's true. Well, not really, because he still can just do whatever he wants, and he can tell Vic he has to say it was his decision.
Oh, my gosh. And there's also just been so many mixed messages with this. Games are worth a lot. Practice is worth a lot. The joint practices were worth a lot. It may be 19 days. It may be tomorrow. Who knows?
Who does know? All right, I think we have another super chat there, Kale.
Yeah, coming in from Zach again.
Our guy, Zach.
What's the over-under on late off-season trade to assist with trimming the roster down?
So, just with any players.
Any players. You see late trades made 2 days, 1 day before before the cut down. Yeah, so, I mean, that's how the Broncos got that defensive back from the Patriots. Duke Dawson. Yes, that's how they got Duke.
Also how they got Alan Barber.
Yes, exactly. Right before. So that was John Elway era, though. I'll say over. I'll say over 0.5. I mean, it would be 0.5 if we're setting an over-under.
You're saying there is a late trade.
I'm saying 0.5. You taking the over? You saying there is?
I'm taking the under.
You're taking the... Okay, I'll take the over.
How about this? They just trade one of the quarterbacks, or how about they put both quarterbacks on the block? Whoever gets a better offer, they take the offer.
That would be something else. Or instead of announcing who wins the quarterback decision, they just trade one of them, and then it's like, oh, okay, they traded Teddy. Drew's the guy.
Interesting. It's fair.
That'd be a way to announce it. Yeah, that's how I feel right now.
I need more conspiracies. This is the only thing getting me
all
through.
Out there.
I want another one. That's the only thing like keeping me going right now. Like someone tweeted at me. I think this means they're going to go with Locke, but Teddy's performance on Saturday gave them pause. So that's like a whole other. That's the opposite of what we thought.
Then just if they wanted to go with Locke before Saturday's game, they should have just done that, Ryan.
I agree. This is all a lot. Just get it over with. Somehow, some way. Like I said,
tomorrow.
The decision room or it's jury duty. Like everyone's stuck here until someone makes a decision.
Yeah. And hopefully they don't have food because then they'll make the decision quicker.
How can you not know at this point? I'm sorry. I have to go back to this. You have so much information.
You want to know coach speak? Because coach speak, what Vic said today was these guys have made it hard. They both improved. They both lived up to the competition. They both aren't making this easy on us.
But it's just like there can't be a tie. There's too much information for there to be a tie.
Yeah, I agree. And that's why I'm saying Vic has realized now, instead of saying it's the same,
Even
he's
Steven.
saying it's close. And I think that close, go with whoever it is, Vic.
Over.
Go with whoever it is, because it's not going to pull away. It's not.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Clearly. All right. I think that's going to wrap it up for us on the live side of things. We're going to hit all of your questions on the podcast side of things. If you want to leave a question for us, you can do so at thednvr.com. Go into the podcast section, find the most recently posted podcast post, go down into the comment section, leave your question there. We'll get to it. You can, of course, hear the podcast side of things on iTunes. You can, of course, just fast forward through the part that you've already listened to here live and get to the third segment, the third and final mystery segment, and hear us answer the questions. But like I said, for now, it's going to wrap it up on the live. We will see you back here tomorrow.